In the previous video, you have the opportunity to review the areas of basic traditional two-dimensional shapes. In this video, we're going to learn how to find area of compound shapes. Compound shapes are unique in their structure. Every one of them is designed by combining two or more simple shapes. We are going to take time to break down these shapes into our traditional shapes, find the area of each part, and then combine the areas as we need to find the areas of these very, very unique shapes. So let's start. In question number 1, you are seeing a composite shape that is composed of two shapes. And like I mentioned, sometimes it could be 2 or 3 or maybe 4. So just a little bit of a breakdown. What should you be seeing? We are having a rectangular shape, rectangular part right here, and then we have a semicircle. We know how to handle these shapes. We know the area for these shapes. We have practiced with them. And so now we're just going to put the work for both of these areas, for both of these shapes together. I'm going to go ahead and do my labeling of my size as I need to. Okay. So you need to pay extra close attention to the fact that some of the measurements are not going to be repeated 2 or 3 times. So for example, this measure right here, this is the measure of the width or the length, however you want to look at it. And as we know, our rectangular shapes have 2 parallel sides that are congruent. So that means this measure is 5. Well, this measure represents diameter for our semicircle, or this measure from the center to the edge right here would be the radius of 2.5 inches. Okay, so we have to really do a lot of deductive reasoning here. Where's the information coming from? All right, area of rectangular shape is base times the height. So we've talked about this, or length times the width. I know you have seen both options. You guys were comfortable with this statement earlier. And so that means 5 times 12 gives me the area of rectangular shape equaling 60 square inches. So I have to do the same kind of work, one shape at a time, for my semicircle. So that means pi r squared divided by 2. We've practiced with these semicircles. We need to make sure that we are dividing by 2 in our formula, setting up ourselves for success right away. So then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2. Take your time, write out your work. Pi times 6 and 25/100 divide by 2 will be giving me the area equaling 9 and 81/25. It does not divide very pretty and easily, but it's okay. You are only doing your rounding at the very end. So don't forget, rounding happens at the very end. So area would be 60 plus 9 and 81/25, which we know we don't need all of those digits. So we're going to round to the hundredths place for the final answer of 69 and 81/100ths of square inch. Now I'll go ahead and box my final answer. All right. So again, what we're trying to do is to break down our composite shape into 2 or 3 basic shapes. Find the area of each section, of each part, and then combine our work. So for shape number 2, it's really unique how it's structured. So I'm going to do I guess the splitting of the information of the lines, creating additional lines. Here we had a handy little line, but for this shape we don't. All right, so we have a parallelogram and a trapezoid. Parallelograms are treated as rectangular shapes. So this is a base times height, base, and then 7 feet right here is our height. So we're going to have 11 times 7 for the area of 77 square feet. For our next shape, we have a trapezoid. So with the trapezoid, during your review, we talked about that there's two bases. This base is 8 feet. This is our second base, which would be 20. This is the total measure. This was 7. We already used it for our parallelogram. That means this base number 2 would be 13. So let's make sure we remember in the area. It's height times base 1 plus base 2. So there's two bases. It does not matter which one you would call first or second. And then we're dividing by 2. So as I'm labeling, let's go ahead and start plugging in. How tall is that trapezoid? So remember, this measure is the same as this measure right here. So that would be 11. So height is 11. This tall base is 8. Bottom is 13. And then I'm dividing by 2. As you can see, the numbers are very nice. There's nothing wrong with them. Really, really nice. So that gives us 11 times 21 and divided by 2. So that would be 231 divided by 2 for the final of 115.5 square feet. So we do have two areas. Area of parallelogram, area of trapezoid that we have to add together. 77, 115.5 give us the total of 192.5 square feet. I'm gonna box it up. So don't be stressed about these questions. Take your time when you're breaking them down. I want to make sure that you keep an open mind. All right, question 3. Once again, we have a trapezoid, this cool little diamond shape. Look how it is going to transform into a trapezoid. I'm going to use different marker to separate my shapes. Okay, here's my trapezoid. Here are the measurements. So this is the distance that belongs right here. So this is my base 1, my base 2, and another important part of the trapezoid is to know the height. So this is really fun picture because we have the measure from the very top to the very bottom is 13 yards. We know this section right here is 7. That means 7 subtracted from 13 will give us the height of 6. And now we're ready to find our area. Height, base 1, base 2, divided by 2. So let's plug in our numbers. Let me shift it here and kind of enlarge the picture so you see what I am writing. So here we are. So height is 6. 10 plus 19 divided by 2. 6 times 29 divided by 2 will give us 87 square yards. Okay, so that was our trapezoid. And next shape, I'm going to try to I guess kind of highlighted in pink, is a triangle. Sorry, it's kind of sloppy, but I wanted for you to see this right here. So the measures of a triangle would be 19 as well. Remember, this belongs to both. This is the line right here. And you can tell why they are showing this measure right here. Otherwise, it's going to kind of get too crowded. So you are always welcome to break up these shapes like so and label them. 10, 19, 6. 19, and 7. Okay, and then have your work a little bit better organized. All right, so that was first area. So area of a triangle would be base times height divided by 2. And base and the height, super important. These two numbers always have that perpendicular relationship. Super, super important. So then we have 19 times 7 divided by 2 will give us 66.5. So area would be 66.5 plus 87 for the total of 153.5. 153.5 square yards. All right, question number 4, I think, is really nice, very traditional looking. Let me adjust my note right here. So there is a couple of ways we can split this shape. I like just like so. So as a result, we have two rectangular shapes, 16 by 16, and then 8 by 8. We're going to find two areas, which would be using the formula base times the height. So 16 times 16 will give us 256. Have to do this again since we have two rectangular shapes. 8 times 8 for the total of 64. Nice and easy. Really, really basic concept here, but we still need to know what to do with these numbers. So that gives us the total of 320. 320 square inches. All right. I would like to scroll down to example number 6. Number 5 seems very, very straightforward, something that we've seen before. In question 6, we have two shapes, really good ones to work with. So we have a triangular shape and a semicircle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and label them just to make sure that we are comfortable with the labeling. So this right here, this is the measure of 6 yards that belongs to both shapes. That means diameter is 6. That means that the base is 6 as well. Then we have the height, that's 4 yards. All right, I broke up my shapes, I have them set up, so I'm ready to find my areas. Base times height divided by 2. This is my area of triangle. Always, always, always. That is 90% there. 90% of success is writing down your formula. Basis is 6, height is 4, 24 divided by 2 is 12 square yards. Okay, done. For my semicircle, pi radius squared divided by 2. Yes, it is semicircle. We don't forget to divide by 2. Pi 3 squared divided by 2. Where did I get 3 from? That's right. It's half of the diameter that was given to me. Absolutely. So that gives me pi times 9 divided by 2 for the total of 14 and 1300ths. 14 and 1300ths plus 12 will give me 26 and 1300ths square yards. As you practice, please write down your formulas. Please refer to your notes. You can distribute your shapes differently from your neighbor, from me, but you all should have the same area.